Hello and live from the infamous Murph's Pub, I'm Jeremy Taylor and welcome to this week's Wednesday Night Undressed, a podcast that reaches into the wobbly places other podcasts daren't venture. We don't claim to look at things scientifically, but we definitely have all the answers to your mysteries. That's vegetable, animal and mineral. We know the kings and queens of England and questions most political. In short, we can explain matters mathematical, physical and medical. We are really the only naked podcast you can be undressed to on a Wednesday night whilst wallowing in your bath. And let me introduce, no giggling, serious. Let me introduce tonight's naked panel, if I can find the list. Sofia is back with us.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh. Woo.
Chris is with us.
Yeah.
Andrei, Kathleen,
Hello.
Eli, Lewis.
Yo.
Ivo has flown in
Yeah.
with his cape from Vampire Land. And Mr. Fernando
Hello.
is with us. Yes.
I think you forgot somebody.
And Greg is with us maybe for our legal advice because
Greg
we
Esquire.
have been
Exactly.
going so close to the mark that we now have to have a lawyer on staff. Two lawyers. Yeah, two lawyers. We have Greg on staff, and of course, it goes without saying that Neil Rasmussen is playing with his knobs or faders. Is he playing with his knobs or faders?
A
I'm
lot
not
of
sure.
knobs.
Knobs and faders. Well, just all over the place. So that's where we're at, and we want to say hello to our Bulgarian friends. I'm not sure who we're saying hello to out there. Our friends in Bulgaria and also Norway.
Yes.
Yes.
There's two of them.
Yes, there's two of them in Norway. So, so this is a question that I'm not happy about, but the questions come in, and it's my place to have to answer the question, ask the questions. Lizzo, and I really dislike, I don't know where this came from, but Lizzo, that's just not right, has received intense backlash from certain quarters of the internet as having somehow desecrated Madison's flute. I don't understand that either, or history of some such. Is there anything more to the complaints that racism, sexism and sizeism is involved, and should historical artifacts like the flute receive special reference? So I, the host, I'm allowed to go first. This is a clear go at the late Her Majesty the Queen. And I won't have it.
What would Churchill
Why?
say
It's-
about it?
Well, Churchill, it's anti-royalist. And the next person who calls King Charles III Chucky is going to have a problem. Let me tell you, girls and boys, it's not right. And the only person who can play a flute, any flute, is Jethro Tull. So I'm
Ian
done.
Anderson.
Ian Andrews. No, that's what I meant. Ian Anderson, yes. Thank you. Criticism from the vampire to the right of me.
I am not sure that I have ever heard a more meaningless, inconsequential piece of drivel than what I just heard.
Oh,
What
no,
the
no,
hell?
no. I'm sure we could find more inconsequential ones.
Yeah, come on. Really,
Why?
if you're going to do something like that, at least enunciate, dear boy. Enunciate.
Okay, let me try again.
Thank you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Fuckity fuck.
He didn't take his meds this morning.
Sophia, you put your hand up. You're back. Thank you very
I
much for
did.
coming. What do you think?
First of all, I don't know what the fuck you were on. Also, sorry. Let me stay on track. Let me pretend Jeremy is not here. Sorry.
That's all right. It's easy to do. I do it all the time.
So I don't know much about flutes, but as someone who is very, very passionate about their instrument and about music in general, I find no problem with it. I feel like, like I've seen plenty of violinists play really old, really expensive, like Stradivarius and like all this really historical stuff, and I think it's really cool. And I don't know anything about like the structure of the flute, except I was told by a friend who has been playing the flute for a long time that something about like the system of the way that that flute was made, because it's so old, from like the 17th or the 18th century or something. Completely different to the modern flute, like a whole other instrument. So I just think it was like really impressive that she was able to do that at all. I don't know. I just thought it was a cool thing that she did. So I got no problem with it.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Andre.
As the son of a flute player, sometimes I think this is gonna be short. I just think that we should normalize and accept people playing the flute.
Is a flute player not known as a flautist?
I don't know.
They are, but we don't want to sound like pretentious dickheads.
Oh, all right. Okay, fair enough. Kathleen.
Oh, well, I think probably that the same people who are having all sorts of objections to this this playing would have no problem with somebody named Trump taking the flute and using it as a flower vase or something at Mar-a-Lago. That's the sort of people who are objecting.
Eli.
Lizzo playing a crystal flute. Enough said. Yes.
I don't know. Fernando, what do you think about crystal flutes?
I think it's I don't know, all the fuss, and they shouldn't, I think she should have played. She's a great talented musician, and the flute was made to play, and it's a different instrument and a little hard to play. I don't get it why they're bashing and all the crap, but it's just noise from the crowd. But yeah, nothing else to add.
Lewis.
So I'm gonna lean into what Fernando said. I agree. It's a flute. Play the damn flute. Like, no big deal. But I want to kind of like take it back to the original question. Like, are there historical or even I don't know, legal artifacts that sort of deserve a place of honor? And I think that this is out. I think that my thinking about this is outside the concept of like Madison's flute, because quite honestly, who gives a fuck about Madison's flute? But if it was, say, a pen that was used to sign, the first Constitution, like, do we want to somehow immemorialize that? Like, would it be improper for someone to then, like, make a Snoopy drawing on a piece of paper with that pen? I guess it's really kind of an interesting question to me. Yeah.
So back to Sofia.
Can I just say real quick, if I had access to the pen that signed the Constitution, I would totally draw Snoopy.
Yeah.
Or like a dick or something. Like, that'd be so much fun.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think Lou brings up a really good point, because I think that a lot of people said all the stuff that I was going to say about the Lizzo playing the flute. I mean, it's definitely racist. But the Lou's other point about revering old objects, I think it's okay if you've got something old that you really like, but I don't really think we need to keep them too special, because I spent a lifetime getting over attachment to things. I mean, I remember as a kid just being so distraught or upset when things that I had got broken or got lost. And nowadays, if I lose like my favorite divot repair tool, it's like, oh, I can go buy another one. These things are old. They're meant to be used and worn out, and don't make a fuss about them.
Can we just ask? That's my job. I'm sorry, because I'm the host of Combat.
Ask a question.
What is a divot?
Somebody wants to act like a host all of a sudden.
What is a
Holy shit!
OSCE, as they say in various other places? What is a divot repair tool?
It's
Or do I not want to know?
typically it's a little piece of metal with a couple of prongs, and you use it to repair your ball marks on the golf green.
It has to do with
When your golf ball hits the green, it can push into the green, and it leaves a little divot or a little hole that if you're a nice golfer, you repair that so that somebody doesn't have to putt over it.
Ivo, save us.
So, Lizzo, first of all, is a trained professional flute player.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was a band geek and a really, really good performer. And so, Madison, I don't know. Nobody knows if he was a good flute player. Is there recordings? No. Also, we just listened. Eli, Lou, Neo, and I just spent hours listening to damn flute. over and over and over for hours, And the one conclusion that I had from this experience, that we came back from Kentucky and we, in addition to everything else, we had to listen to flute music from South America. But I'm thinking a good, nice person is somebody who can play the flute but doesn't.
I thought that was the banjo, not the flute.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that way back when there were also band geeks that were geeky enough to make crystal flutes, but really the only flute artifact that we should treasure is Ron Jeremy's flute.
Okay.
No love for Zamfir?
Zamfir, the Romanian pan flutist.
So we now need to go to Greg. Any comments, legal? Any problems with that bit?
Sure. So I had to ask Lewis to give me a rundown of what this discussion is because I was not familiar with what had happened.
Because we can't be informed.
Because I'm just underinformed about, I guess, political issues, I guess. But the idea, is this political? I don't know.
It's sexual.
I suppose I also have a question, though. And this is a genuine question, not meant to be necessarily thought-provoking. I'm just trying to understand the situation. Did she, would this be the equivalent of somebody walking, in an art gallery and then deciding, I'm going to go pick up that sculpture and, check it out? Even if they're a sculptor, that would be a little odd. Is that what happened, or was it something very different?
Chris?
No, she was actually invited by the National Archives to play the flute. I mean, and I was surprised they brought it to a concert because I originally watched when she first got it, where she actually went to the National Archives to see it, and she played it there first. And then I think they brought it to one of her concerts, which is the video that went viral, is my understanding of what happened here.
Okay, in that case, I do have a follow-up question, which is this what the news is anymore?
Oh, boy.
I have a thought that if somebody made an exquisite instrument, that craftsman that made the instrument probably would like it to be played as opposed of collecting dust in some corner or behind a glass display. So I feel like violins like the Stradivarius violins, this instrument, Charlie Parker's white saxophone, those things are meant to be played, and when they're played, they come alive, and also the spirit of their creator comes alive. So I think it's a good thing.
Okay, next question. Next question. Why is there a requirement for Braille on drive-up ATMs? Don't anybody answer. So, first of all, hands up who has not looked this up. Okay, so everybody with the exception of Lewis can come up with an answer. I know what the answer is and didn't have to look it up, but
I can still have an answer.
you can, yes. Are you getting undressed or something?
It's Wednesday night undressed.
Wednesday night.
Exactly.
He's the only one doing the right thing.
Go ahead.
My initial reaction when I read this was I was surprised that there was a requirement because for me, I can see how there's a requirement for ATMs in a store or, in a bank or somewhere to have the Braille. And the manufacturers of the ATMs just keep the Braille on the units that they end up installing in drive-thrus. But it makes sense because you can have a blind person in the driver's side passenger seat behind, drive up. That way they can use the ATM without giving their information to anybody in the car.
Yes, we don't actually use the word blind. Again, Greg would probably... We're visually impaired, isn't it? Is that what we want to say? Visually impaired? Oh, do come on, Greg. If you're going to give us advice, don't be drinking beer and eating poppadoms or something, or whatever it is you're doing.
Can you repeat your question, please?
I use the word blind, which
Blind.
Jeremy
We don't
objects
use
to.
blind, do we? We use visually impaired, don't we?
Oh, I have no thoughts on that topic.
Oh, all right.
Something.
like one of Trump's lawyers.
There's one of those amendments to the Constitution which says you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
You sound like
but
one of
I'm certainly no expert.
Okay. So, Chris, what about Lewis?
Chris got it right. That's basically it. Like there's it is a requirement that the keypads for walk-up ATMs have the Braille keyboard, and it's cheaper for the manufacturers to just make one keyboard. Period.
So it is for blind people, though.
No, it's for the sighted people. They just want to make sure that you know your Braille when you see it.
Well, it's so much more fun if you go up to the cash machine and close your eyes and try to do it that way. It's hilarious.
So maybe it's because I grew up in the city, but I would never close my eyes while I'm at the ATM.
It's just one of those questions. I have so many of those questions, like why do dispatchers talk to the pilots of hypersonic jets? Why are they even trying?
Because they think it's funny.
Those are hypersonic jets. Sound is not going to catch up. How about Miss Universe? Why is she always from Earth? These are like logical questions. She's always from Earth.
I've wondered that about things like the baseball world, World Series baseball. It's not a freaking World Baseball Series.
Yeah.
It was basically
Canadian
America
team.
and Japan, and that's it.
Yeah, it is. America's on top of the world.
Yeah.
So, nobody else matters, dude.
Here's a little one for you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You want to have a look at an Australian atlas.
I've seen them. They're actually kind of kick ass.
Yeah, right. Okay, moving on. Anybody else got a comment? Sophia.
I got nothing. I think Fernando does, though.
Fernando. So Sophia, no. Fernando, do you have a thought on why they've got Braille on cash machines, hole-in-the-wall machines?
Well,
we call
that
them?
came with the ADA, right? I mean, that was the first thing, and sounds like the American Bank Association was trying to oppose to that being mandatory. But the American Disability Act, right? Is that the name?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, at the end, like, I think it's amazing move and need to keep looking forward, but it's always bizarre because, every time you turn your heads, you see the complications. The world never gonna be perfect, but it's a progress. But of course now, I would like to know how many people with, visual disability impairment use the ATM on drive-through on a banks. I want to see the stats on that.
I feel like the more important question is how many folks that are visually impaired drive to the ATM.
Oh.
Well,
I
I
didn't
mean,
think about that.
nowadays, but maybe a lot of them, they have drivers or butlers and be in the back seat.
Well, that's different. That's being driven. So, like,
Being
I actually
driven,
have
that's
a
right,
friend
that's right.
that is legally blind. Like, her vision was 2400, but she had a driver's license, so she could drive. And
What?
Like, she could see. It was just
Shadows.
so bad, that it was like impossible. But yeah, so like she's someone that could conceivably drive to an ATM. Like, I don't know that I'd want to be in the car or anywhere near the car when she did, but it was possible.
Did she get it so she could do like a demolition derby? That would.
I'm not sure. I think it might have been just one of those things where, like, the state she was in required a driver's license to vote or something like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she went through the rigmarole even though she was blind. So it happens.
Yeah.
Eli? What's your thought?
Right here, we got a blind passenger. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously because ATM machine fronts are designed, and I can tell you in Europe they have the same thing. They're all built by the same people, and they have Braille, and Braille is an international language, which is actually really cool. Some of the most interesting interviews I've done have been with visually impaired people and things that they have to live with, over and above not being able to see. Well, one of the most annoying things they have is people constantly wanting to help them. And I had a friend who was, a guy I knew back in the old place, and his wife was sighted and he wasn't, but he was well known in the town for being visually impaired. And he had a stick and a dog. And one of his favourite things on a Saturday morning was to go shopping with his wife. She would go into the store, leaving him outside, and he and the dog would earnestly peer through the shop window, right, with his stick, and he'd look in the shop window. And many of my friends from the UK will know who I'm talking about. And people would go, "Isn't he blind? He's blind. He can't see anything. Why is he looking in the shop window? And he used to get all these lines. And it was him who came up with the idea that we should do something, I think of Rotary or something, should have a garden for the visually impaired in front of the cathedral. He suggested having cacti in it. Ivo.
So I had an interesting experience with a visually impaired guy last year in Bulgaria. I was in the bus. Yeah, I was in the bus, and this young man, maybe 22, 23 years old, who's visually impaired, was loudly talking to the driver of the bus and asking him, but in a very loud voice, to tell him when this particular bus stop comes so he can get off. And then I approached the guy and I said, you know what, I am going to the same place and I can guide you there. I can help you get to... He was trying to go to a McDonald's where he was going to meet a friend. So he said thank you. And the stop came and I told him, I'll hold your hand and let's go. And he goes, wait a second, I have a question. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, are you vaccinated for COVID? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And only then he agreed that I guide him to the McDonald's. So we went to the McDonald's, and then he wanted to use the ATM machine to withdraw cash. So he did it because the ATM had also voice function. He had he had an option where it can talk to you, and then he only had like $2 in his account. And then I told him, you drop something here on the ground, and I gave him like $20, and he got incredibly mad at me, and he said, "You're lying. You're giving me money. This is not what I'm about. I'm not, begging for money. I'm not a panhandler." He got super upset. I was just trying to help, but his pride kicked in, and it wasn't the right move for me.
I can understand that. People don't like to be looked down on. I mean, you were trying to do a good thing for sure, but people just don't like that.
And I pretended like he dropped it. I didn't say, here, have like $20. I pretended like he dropped a bill, and he said, I have no bills in me. You're messing with me. But
real slick.
Yeah, then I went in the McDonald's with him, and I did get him a Coke. And he was grateful for that, and I waited for his friends to come and talk to him. So that was weirdly enough, I had not read the questions, but it was an experience that I had last year with a visually impaired guy and an ATM machine.
So let's move on to the next question. Who would you like to play you in a movie? Who would you like to play you in a movie? So Sophie is glowering at me at the moment. So
I'm still
been here for a while.
I'm trying to figure out my guy's name.
Yeah, I know Lewis's, Owen Wilson.
I was actually going to say Jennifer Aniston.
Oh.
But then you,
So Lewis, who would you like to play you? When they make the film about all the good things that you've done and the efforts you've made and all that sort of thing, who would it be?
So I don't know that there's anybody that I would pick. I know that I have been told that he favors me because he's younger. The actor Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yes.
I don't think that would be a bad option by any stretch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't know that there's any particular person that I think would be able to. Or I'll say it differently. I don't know if there's anybody that wouldn't be able to sort of have my life. I feel like I've had a pretty charmed life overall.
Can they be alive or dead, do you think?
So if I was going to pick somebody, here's the interesting thought for me. Like picking somebody my age, like my current age, to play me in a movie, it would almost immediately be Billy Dee Williams. Like he seemed to have the right mental components to like. Didn't really take himself too seriously, but sort of like was comfortable with the whole idea that like he was a star, and like he didn't lean into it, but he didn't shy away from it. Like I think that would be sort of the most important quality for an actor to play me. You can't take yourself too serious.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Ivo?
I feel like if anyone wants to play me, they should be able to play the crystal flute. You know, but no.
Come on, who?
Ivo, can I answer this for you?
I've heard Eddie Vedder. I've heard Eddie Vedder.
Nope.
So
I disagree.
What?
I disagree. There's like 3 people that would be perfect to play you. Colin Farrell.
I love that guy.
Colin Farrell would be great.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh God.
Oh yes.
Wouldn't Robert Downey
Yes,
Jr. be
yes,
like the
yeah.
perfect Evo?
He would.
And there was one other
like to
that
see that.
immediately popped into my head. I'll yell it out whenever I remember it. But there's one more. But those 2 for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Fernando, who would you like to play you? And if you don't answer, I'm going to get Sofia to answer for you.
I don't know. Who do you think, Sofia?
When I was little and we watched Spy Kids all the time, I always thought you were like Antonio Banderas. My whole life. My whole life. Anytime I see Antonio Banderas, I think of my dad.
I
Coolest daughter comment.
I was thinking that would be the guy.
Don't say anything because you're going to spoil it.
I was thinking more like
I'll
Nick
take
Cage.
That. I'll take Antonio Banderas. I'll take Antonio Banderas, but I would tell the Dos Equis guys.
Okay, so let's play it back on her then. So who do you think she would want to play her? Or him?
What do you think? Take the mic.
Keanu Reeves.
That's brilliant. That's honestly brilliant.
Let me work. I'll pass. Let me work on that.
come
I'll come
on.
back. I gotta
I'm
think.
going to come back to you. I've got a list. Chris,
I
who
don't.
would you like to play you?
I don't know the actor's name, but in the movies Heathers, when they're discussing the first Heathers suicide note, one of the kids in the class is taking down notes and requests whether or not they're going to be tested on the note. And I've been told many times that actor looks like me.
Okay. Eli.
Christian Bale, Jonah Hill, same movie.
Victory swig afterwards.
Andrei. Nice, sensible answer from you, please.
Nicolas Cage.
I would say either Tom Cruise or the guy who played Goose, whose name is Anthony Edwards, which we just found out. Both of them, same movie. They just switch at some point. Yeah.
You look a little bit like Ryan Phillippe.
Who is that?
A lot like Ryan Phillippe. I don't know if you know that actor.
Is he
was
hot?
A big star. He was a big star.
I'd do it.
Yeah, he would play you
Oh.
like a crystal flute.
I don't. He doesn't. He's not hot enough.
And
Like a Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe.
maybe
That he could play me.
yes.
Ryan
But
Gosling.
young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
old Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio.
Well, he's
And,
still.
I'm sorry, Sofia, but young Sarah Silverman is you. Young Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I think a young Leonardo DiCaprio could also play.
So we're still going to come back to Fernando in a minute. But first, Kathleen has been quietly sitting in the corner hoping that we're not going to come back to her. I'll forget her.
Jamie
but-
Lee Curtis.
Without a moment's
Yes.
I think I might prefer. Anybody here watch Jane Marple in
Oh,
Agatha Christie
Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
movies? There's a couple of famous people who've played Jane Marple. Miss Marple is silver-haired, very smart, got the admiration of everybody in the police force. And I kind of see myself as her. She gets underestimated a lot. She's not an action hero.
Yeah.
Not an action hero, but a thinker.
For me, anyone that's been married to Jeremy Taylor is an action hero.
Can I just say,
Mr.
we
Taylor.
were on the phone to the UK on Sunday.
All of it?
And we had, yes, all,
Everyone?
Sophia, piss off. And we asked daughter this question, Christine, and who's a wise person, and we said, by the way, who does? And first thing she said, Jamie Lee Curtis, with short hair.
Right.
So if you want to know what my wife thinks about, there's that spy movie, isn't there?
True Lies.
True Lies. think bikini, end of the bed. Well, it's not a bikini, is it? But lingerie, end of the bed. That's what my
Slinky
wife
black
looks like.
dress.
Yeah, that's what my wife looks like.
What about you?
I have to put up with that every time I get up in the morning.
There's so many things I'm trying not to say.
Try not to. Not to. Just clench your teeth.
Can we just go, Greg? Is that all right? Are you doing across slit throat? So
Sure, no,
should we
no.
not be going there?
No, we're good.
We're okay. All right.
Mine's really easy. Obviously, Lewis Walton would play me. I think.
Yes, that's what
Any production.
Yeah. So Fernando, coming back to you. You're ready now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So Sophia, I think would play. Would be Gina Coleman. She's on Doctor Who,
Oh yeah.
and yeah.
Doctor Who.
Clara Oswald. Just,
She was Joanna Constantine in The Sandman.
yeah.
So who would play me, Dad?
Matt Damon. That's a no-brain answer.
Jeremy,
Yes, dear.
what unfortunate person would have to play you?
Oh, that's easy. Roger Moore.
No. He's attractive. Who would you really
I can
pick?
see that.
Jeremy Chaplin.
Evo. I just thought of the last person. Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah.
My God, I love him.
Sorry.
Well, if Alina was here, that's what she would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. But that's. I mean, it that might be the perfect casting for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I gotta
You
figure out
shredded me, didn't you?
who else Jeremy wants to pick besides Roger Moore.
There's a British character actor Jeremy looks a lot like. I can't recall his name, but
Oh, good.
Is this the guy that played Churchill on Peaky Blinders? Because that's
Is
who
the
I
guy who
would've
played him
gone
on Doctor Who?
with. Yes, same dude.
Same dude?
Same dude.
That's him.
Or just Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Like himself,
He
yeah.
actually isn't around anymore.
Well, I thought Jeremy said it could be like anyone.
Yeah, could be anyway.
Yeah.
I would. Yes, Winston.
Also, Billy D. Williams for Jeremy would also work quite well.
I'm gonna write that down. I don't know who you're talking about.
Are you ready for my answer?
I gotta ask Neil real quick.
No, we've got
Who would play you in a movie?
Oh yeah.
Robert De Niro.
Perfect. Perfect.
Let's go. No, Robert De Niro. Yeah.
you look.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
Are fit like
you
at
look-
different points.
You look a lot like Russell Crowe. You even have the little mole, the Russell Crowe. You look a lot like Russell Crowe.
Sophia, you want to go? Yeah.
Yeah. I went in a whole different direction to this. Because I've been on my Succession grind set lately. I only think of Greg from Succession. I think that he encapsulates me perfectly. He's just like me for real. We're literally twins. We're the same height. I'm 6'7" too. So, yeah, that's my pick. That's my draft pick. Is Greg.
Okay. So let's move on to another question. Good questions today. What is the one thing that you repeatedly have to Google? What is the one thing that you go to Google for? And is it okay to use Google for any internet search?
Pornhub.
Well, sorry, now we're going to have to go to Greg immediately. Can we say that?
Is that
My
okay?
answer is already. I've already been.
But are we being too
Illegal.
We're just saying Pornhub because there's so many others.
Oh yeah, there's X videos.
Lobster Tube, all those others.
I'm learning so much about Jeremy tonight. It's-
Keep in mind, my dad is right next to me.
Yeah. He is
So-
now coming in your direction.
So the name of the guy that looks like Jeremy is Jim of all the names. Broadbent.
Yes, I mean.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Jim
You
Broadbent.
bastards. Yes. Jim
Only
Broadbent,
you're
yeah.
more handsome than him, but this guy's trying to look like Jeremy, and his name is Broadbent. Unbelievable.
What about the guy, the guitarist in Led Zeppelin?
Jimmy Page. Yes,
Jimmy
you do
Page.
look like Jimmy Page.
People say I look like Jimmy
Yes, you
Page.
do. You do look a lot
I've
like Jimmy
actually
Page.
had
Brian May,
people ask
too.
me, "Am I him?"
Yes.
In this very
You're
bar.
That was
so
me.
right.
Can we get back to Pornhub?
Yeah.
Are we not talking about porn anymore?
Yes, we're back to porn. Sorry.
Andre, we are always talking about porn on this show. It's never not about porn.
So, what is the one thing you repeatedly have to use Google for? Andre, other than porn. Only porn.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm ever on Google.
Right.
I don't know, I'd probably just say like sports scores, or like I always find myself like looking up, like, I'm sure you guys do too, but like how to hide a dead body or how to frame someone for murder. Like
Yes.
just simple stuff like that that you always just forget.
Who doesn't?
Are you familiar with how to erase your search history? You should be.
I'm in
I'll do that right
I'm in
away.
incognito mode, so I'm good.
Okay.
Don't forget everything passed through my firewall.
But
So
he's
you
using
watch that
VPN.
too?
But what's interesting is that that's really cool, because the local county and people like that, their police forces aren't allowed to use Google and all those sort of things, are they? They're not allowed to go on the internet, cruise the internet, because it's waste of county money. Lewis.
I'm always wanting to know what exactly the difference between two words is, like silly versus stupid. And so I will then like just type them into Google to see if there's like, if it's just nuance, or like what if there is actually a difference between those two words and what it is. So
Sometimes I think Google is kind of smartass. It might answer you with saying, "What a silly, stupid question."
it very well could. It very well could.
Andre, I've asked you. Kathleen, I've asked you. Eli.
Israeli expansion, 1940s forward. Look it up. I need me a damn pint.
Did you Google that?
Ivo, what do you use Google for?
First of all, I Bing. I don't use Google.
What?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So just on a side note, if you are searching for porn, Bing is a much better
Bing,
website.
Bing,
for
Bing,
whatever.
Bing.
Is it Mr. Bing or Miss Bing?
It's just Bing.
Oh, all right.
Bing.com.
Bing, bagadong, bing.
Yeah. Google it. It's a safer search engine, and I typically I look for news, like PolitiFact. When I need like real news, I go there. Yeah.
So, does PolitiFact matter anymore? Did it ever matter? Does it matter
I guess
now?
not.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a wormhole. If we go down that rabbit hole, we are lost, man. Because if we start discussing objective reality and what's real and what's not, and post-truth environment and the post-truth world, we'll go into a completely different topic. But yeah, you're right. I mean, facts nowadays almost don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens, it's anchored in reality. And it doesn't matter because an entire machine will start repeating the opposite, and the lie will become the truth, and PolitiFact won't matter anymore. But I'm trying. I'm doing my best. BBC, AP News, PolitiFact. I'm trying.
Are you sure you don't want to turn this into a discussion about like Nietzschean postmodernism?
Oh my gosh, Greg Esquire. Holy crap.
I'm ready.
I know you
Hey,
are.
all is illusion, man. All is illusion.
Chris.
There's really nothing I repeatedly have to Google. I tend to use DuckDuckGo though more than I do Google.
Duck.
Well done.
Some kind of communist.
OPSEC.
Well done, Chris.
But some of the things I do look up is like how-tos, like for repairing cars or repairing this, that, and the other thing. I also like to, when it comes to like news and stuff, is I've read something, I want to Google an alternate opinion to that just so I can get a different perspective, because I never really take the first thing I hear from somebody. I have blogs that I read, but if I'm not 100% in agreement with what they're saying, I'd like try to find an alternate opinion. And if I can't find one on some of the, because I read left blogs, I read right blogs, and if I can't really find alternate opinions between the two of those, I'll go looking for somebody else who might have an opinion about it.
Why don't you just go to the BBC?
That's one that I read. Sometimes they're not talking about a topic that I'm interested in, though.
Well, there is BBC America.
There's also France 24.
does Google Images, do they have nudity or it's not? Like,
You got to, man.
if you Google like an actress, is there naked pictures as well?
Yes.
On
You
on
sometimes
Google.
have to scroll down a bit.
So-
I'm asking for a friend.
Evo-
Even on Google.
So Evo, by default, if you don't turn it off, Google has safe search on, and so it actually hides all that from you. But
tip.
yeah, so yeah, check your Google set. If you aren't getting copious amounts of nudes, then turn off your safe search.
Do you
Google
think
is literally one letter more than Google, you know? It's Google is contained in Google completely.
This is
Evo,
maybe
Evo,
the
I
most
don't- not on
disturbing
air.
thing that you've said yet, Evo.
are there naked pictures of Jamie?
Oh, I bet you,
Oh, wait.
yeah.
Stop it.
Hold on, let me Google.
Google.
Google. Kathleen, what do you
Oh, it's
do you
boring.
Google?
My job involves a lot of addresses, and I look up addresses because people seem to have the most remarkable ideas as to where they actually live.
Yeah, and most of
Particularly
these people are dead
students.
now.
No, students have no idea what the address
Emergency
is.
services
where
never
they,
got
where they've
there.
moved.
You
Never,
found them.
ever.
Lewis, you're waving at me.
Yeah, I got a question for Greg.
Oh.
Do you spend an inordinate amount of time looking up statutes and regulations via Google?
Yeah, my real answer was actually going to be legal research for one and Google Translate for two.
So as I'm sitting here listening to people talk about what they're looking up, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what profile of me Google has, and so for a while when I was doing the domestic law, it was like Google probably thinks I'm like either a pedophile or like a deadbeat husband, and then it turned into banking, and so now Google probably thinks I'm trying to like scam the government. So yeah, I mean, who isn't?
Yeah.
Sophia.
Minesweeper. I play it like. No, I play the Google version because it's so pretty. Because like when you finish it, like has flowers and it's all colorful and stuff. It's not this
love.
sad gray one. I have so much fun on Minesweeper. I haven't I don't think I've done any assignments in class this whole week because I've just been playing Minesweeper and Tetris. Like competitive online Tetris, I'm really good at, and it's so much fun. So yeah, definitely those, and then also like food near me, and I have to specify Lawrence, Kansas, because it always puts me in Kansas City, and it's not helpful because I always end up going to Sonic every time, but I like to look through my options and like see what I could be getting, you know.
All right, I need to change my answer to food near me too, because that's probably what I look at most of all.
Yeah, another one would be Pizza Shuttle. One time I accidentally ordered a pizza from Pizza Shuttle to Kansas City at like 3 a.m. And I was the guy called me like 5 times. Was like, dude, where are you? And he was like, dude, I'm at your house. But he was like, what was the address again? And I was like, I'm not gonna say the address because Lou might come to our house. But and then I gave him the address. He's like, what city did you order it from? And I was like, Lawrence. And he was like, oh man, I'm in Kansas City. And I was like, shit. And then he just hung up.
Was that the night you asked me for?
Yeah, I asked Sophia for more money because I was like, oh, my pizza's in Kansas City. So, yeah.
I gave it to him. He got the pizza.
Fernando.
It's very interesting. I mean, I use Google most for technical search and basic stuff, like those questions here and such. So I researched what would be the top words that goes on Google search, and blow my mind that people don't understand that they don't need to type the word if that word is basically the domain name. So the number one, any guesses? YouTube. No, if you Google on Google, you break the internet.
It's only fourth one.
That joke just, if you get the reference, you watch the IT crowd. But I mean, from 1 to 100, it's 90% basically a website with one word. Why you even typing that?
Yeah.
Why?
Another one, like left, it's a few news. BBC's there, Jeremy, believe it or not. They are ranked, and BBC News as 30th in the ranking this 2022.
That's pretty good.
And IKEA, Amazon Prime, Home Depot, and they filter a little. I'm sure there is some nasty stuff, and they claim on the
Brexit
top
was one
there,
for a
but
while.
Costco, Trump is there, 72.
Food near me. OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, 75th. iPhone 12, 76. Kahoot,
Tempo mañana.
Is
Airbnb.
YouTube number one?
YouTube
Yeah.
number 1.
Right.
Oh,
Craigslist 84. Just weird stuff. Let's bottom line. Champions League, Disney Plus, Craigslist. They're like kind of the bottom 4. Lowe's, TikTok.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
But interestingly, nobody said maps.
no, there was some referencing, I think, in between about it, and there was something like a few newspapers, USPS tracking. OnlyFans, Zara, Spotify, but I think there was one
December
map
global
related, but
holidays.
at least it was just 100. Calculator too, calculator. So people want to call apps.
I do that a lot.
Oh, I do a lot of. I have a lot of conversions. So Fahrenheit to Celsius and such and such. I
Yes.
convert stuff all the time.
I do that too. Yeah.
Easy,
Yeah.
easy, fine. Right?
I have to do a lot of sports reporting to Bulgaria, and sometimes it involves basketball players, and I have to say how tall they are. So I have to convert feet and inches to centimeters and meters. And
They don't have feet?
Google, yeah, Google is
pause.
quick. So if somebody is 6'8", I go to Google conversion table, and it tells me, they're 2 meters and 7 centimeters. So.
It's useful also for things like time in different countries. To see what time it is. Yeah, when you can telephone somebody. 'Cause we still have to telephone.
I'm
people.
confused though. We're in America. Why would we ever be concerned about somebody else's time zone?
He has a
Right,
point.
that's a good point.
Yeah, exactly.
America is always on top. Is that you said that, right? America is always on top. That's like a little boring sexually, I feel like when Trump was in power, there was a little bit of doggy action going on.
Yeah. I mean, we knew where we stood when Trump was in charge. So let's move on to the next question then. Do you know your Myers-Briggs type? Do you know your Myers-Briggs type? And what do you think of personality inventories? Mine, incidentally, is ISTP.
B?
The assholes are.
ISTP.
Okay, I was like, what the hell?
No. So that's me. I've come out and said it. ISTP. Lewis, what's yours?
I can never remember. Give me a second. Oh, ENFP with a dash of turbulence. I'm a campaigner, and that means I like to make sure everybody's getting along, and I like to be the focus point of everything.
EF what?
ENFP.
I beg your pardon. ENFP. Okay. I have a manual somewhere.
So, as far as what I think about personality inventories, I think that you probably get to decide what you want to be before you start, and the personality inventory just sort of reinforces that. Like, I feel like I could pick any of the quadrants on the chart and answer the question so that I would fit in that quadrant, and I think that you only get out of it what you put into it. Like, you can fool yourself just like you can fool everybody else that pays
Fool yourself.
a whole lot of attention to personality inventories.
I actually was part of a course just one morning course, but how to beat Myers-Briggs for interview purposes.
And I think that's it. Like, I think you figure out how you want to project yourself, and then you just answer the questions so that they
Eli.
reinforce that.
I think I'm like a ENFTP or something like that.
No.
I'm the one with the flowers and the butterflies, and that's what's important.
Chris.
I'm a BYOB. I'm kind of like with Lewis on that one. When I was at Cessna, we did a team building exercise where they brought in a consultant. It wasn't Myers-Briggs. It was something else called DISC.
Yeah, I've taken this too.
And they had us, do the questions, and I specifically answered the questions for the personality that I wanted. So it's all a load of bunk to me.
Kathleen.
I have no idea what I rank as on any of the tests, and I don't much care because I'm going to retire in a year or two and screw them all, which is pretty much my attitude. I don't care to know what people think of me. I'll do my thing.
She's top right. Anybody wants to know.
Curious, though, Kath, do you have an interest in confirming
your self-opinion? Because some people do use the test for that reason.
No, I know what I think
that's
of myself.
fair.
I'm
no,
fine.
I think that's fair. And again,
Yeah.
going back to my answer, I don't know that the test gives you any insights that you don't already have. So, yeah.
Okay.
Fernando, have you ever done that? Been involved with Myers-Briggs?
I'll let Sofia tell my version. It's my narrator.
Okay. So, yeah. So I know always thinks personality quizzes are bullshit. And I'm pretty sure your Myers-Briggs was an INTJ, but I could be wrong. Yeah, he doesn't remember taking the Myers-Briggs, but we did the Enneagram.
What's your Enneagram type?
Well, I'll get to that. Right now I'm talking about my dad.
Okay.
So, he's
So
a
shut up. Shut up your face.
So we did the Trudy one, and that one actually goes really, really in depth. You can buy a full report, and that's what he got. And it's so he's really, really strong 6, which is 99%. It's a lot about safety and preservation and security and fears and there's so he claims to not have any fear. I know it's bullshit though because his test said otherwise. But yeah, that's his. I don't know. What do you think about them?
I don't know.
Okay.
Just a bunch of questions. But there's a match there. But I mean, I don't know. It's almost like a horoscope, I think. But I have no fear. They say that I have fear. So I disagree again. So I want my refund on this test.
You go to therapy, bro.
Andre.
I tried.
I don't remember what it all means, but I do remember that I got some pretty frightening matches. So that's actually how we started Breaking Bad. How I started watching Breaking Bad is because I asked, who's Tugo Salamanca and why do I match both with him? So,
Sociopath.
yeah, I was who's Patrick Bateman? Lots of, yeah. So,
So your
the-
Myers-Briggs is BTK?
so no, the
Have you
Myers-Briggs
tried the
is the
psychopath
letters,
test
right?
yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I was an ENTJ, and then the Enneagram was 8 with a 7 wing. So I matched with a lot of. Stalin was one, I think. I don't know how they would have known, but I think Genghis Khan was. How do you find out what Genghis Khan's personality? But that one was a little frightening.
He did personality inventories in his spare time.
Yeah, he had all his soldiers do it. But anyway, yeah, so those were mine, and it was just a little bit scary. So.
Sophia, you're last.
Okay, so my best friend was super, super into Myers-Briggs and Enneagram both, learning that kind of stuff over quarantine for a few months because we didn't have anything better to do. And by proxy, I kind of got interested in it. I don't know that much, but I can talk like I do because I can tell that you guys don't. But I know my. So here's the thing: that 16 personalities quiz, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's not how Myers-Briggs was meant to be used. It doesn't cover all the nuances of the. There's a whole bunch of inner types and how your types interact with each other within your type. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Tri-types, all this kind of stuff. And so when I took 16 personalities, every single time I took it without fail, I was an INFP. But when I was talking with my friend and we were researching into what each of the letters really means and how they interact with the other letters in your type, I figured out I was an ENFJ. Which was pretty different because I'm an introverted person, and I never even imagined that I could have an E in my type. But it once we started talking about it and looking more into it, it made a lot more sense. And then my Enneagram is a 6 with a 5 wing. Yeah, so Dad and I are both 6s. I'm a 6 because I have an anxiety disorder. I don't know about you, but that's your own thing. So basically, my mom and I on one of our bonding trips, she was telling me about Enneagram, so we took the in-depth, the Trudy test, and we were reading through all the types, And I think on the Trudy test, it said I was a 6, but it gave me like a different wing. But we were like reading through it ourselves and like deciding. So I think the difference between horoscopes and like astrology and all that shit, because I don't really believe in it. I think it's fun to just like kind of be like, oh, like I'm a Cancer. Like, what about you? But is that you're kind of like automatically assigned one, right? Like you don't get to choose, and you don't get to like decide that, oh, maybe I'm not actually this. Maybe after reflecting on it more, maybe I'm this, because astrology is determined by your birthday. But the thing I really like about Myers-Briggs and with Enneagram is that you're not like bound to one. Like as you grow and evolve, it changes. Like the Enneagrams, like in one of like the really in-depth like papers or whatever, they were talking about how there's like growth patterns and like how 6s are likely to grow into like a 3 or a 9 and like how that looks. And I thought it was really interesting. I don't know. I think the best way to get meaningful stuff out of Myers-Briggs and out of Enneagram is to not let questions on a test determine it, but to read through all the types and figure out how your own life like applies to those and figure out which one is right for you.
How do you feel then about it being used, one of these tests, being used for interview purposes?
Oh, I think that's bullshit, because when that's used, people will just take the 16 personalities test or they'll just lie. Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense, because your personality type shouldn't affect, like, I don't know, your employment. Like, I feel like it's not that deep, you know? Yeah, I think that's bullshit, because you're never going to get the right answer if you're asking that on an interview.
Myers-Briggs is designed, well, I don't know what it is today, but 20 years ago it was designed so that you want one answer, but you've got about 5 or 6, if I recall right, different questions to get, so that it's very difficult to cheat it.
Yeah, well, you're not, like, you shouldn't be using it in that way. I feel like doing that kind of defeats the purpose. And I think using it for job interviews is not a smart idea. Like, I feel like you're not going to get the right answer. You're only going to get people like saying the same couple things when they're really not. And that's going to create more conflict in the workplace, because you're going to have a different view of them as a person. So like, just if someone asks for your Myers-Briggs type, just be like, oh, I don't know. Or give them an honest answer, and who fucking cares? Like, who cares? It's not that deep.
Well, you know, strangely enough, boys and girls, we've come to the end of another Wednesday Night Undressed. I do have a piece of news, and that is that King Charles III has seen the funny side of... You and Chris are going to be up against a wall if you're not careful.
We threw off the monarchy in this country.
Yeah, but, you know, they may come back. Anyway, he has seen the funny side.
We'll throw it off again.
Of the pen saga. And has been seen making jokes about it, such as, does this pen actually work? Is this pen big enough?
Oh, hilarious.
Can I have a crystal pen?
Yes, can I have a crystal pen? It's really nice to be here, splodge, and things like that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much indeed. I want to thank the team, Sofia, Chris, Andrei, Kathleen, Eli, Lewis, Ivo, Fernando, and our legal advisor, Greg. On the knobs, playing with his knobs and faders, Mr. Neil was with us. I was going to say something about sponsorship, but I don't know what we're going to do about Susan, but that's...
Susan's on vacation.
Oh, she's on vacay.
Yes, vacation.
Well,
Where's she vacating?
Yeah.
Where's
Where'd she get the
gone?
money for that? We don't pay her
We
enough.
don't pay her enough for vacations.
No,
She's gone to Bulgaria.
She's taken all the sponsorship money, hasn't she?
She took a personality test, and she came out as GBOLL, which stands for goodbye to our last listener.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to another Wednesday Night Undressed.
Woo!
Try not to force yourselves. Yes.